Three. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the century mark of the complete game, episode 100. Congratulations, G. I'm your host, Curt Schilling. He is my co host and firstborn, Garrick Schilling. What's going on, bud?
Not much. We have about a week of baseball in the books now. It's fun that
Yeah.
we actually get to talk some of the game.
Yep. A lot going on, too. Lot going on.
Yep. The Yankees will not be 162-0 since we last spoke. Every team has at least one loss, so we will not have an undefeated team for the first time in Major League history. Newsflash. But in the bigger sense of the league, I wanted to highlight some of the younger guys who have had some just stellar opening starts to their campaigns. And if you haven't seen any of these, go look up the highlights. Murakami for the White Sox in 3 games had 3 home runs, has an
Yeah.
1,800 OPS. We were just talking Chase DeLauder for the Guardians, 3 games, 4 home runs. American League Player of the Week for his first 5 games in Major League Baseball. How are you doing? Not a big deal. Owen Casey for the Marlins, 3 games, hitting 500, 5 for 10, 1,500 OPS. Okamoto in Toronto, 3 games, 4 for 12, a home run. And he hit another one the day after. So these are all the first 3 games for most
Yeah,
of
yeah,
these
yeah.
guys too. Sal Stewart, who had his way with the Red Sox over the weekend, came out hitting 700 with a 2.069 OPS, winning NL Player of the Week. First time that's happened, by the way, in a decade that 2 rookies have won the opening Player of the Week for each respective league. Trevor Story was the last one for the Rockies in 2016.
Um,
So,
Kevin McGonigal, the kid for Detroit, has gotten
yep,
off to a big start.
yep.
And I'm blanking on the name, but somebody set a franchise record for reaching base consecutive times to open the season, and I'm drawing a blank right now. But
Oh, I didn't see that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was yesterday. I don't. We got to find it, but set a record for consecutive times reaching base to open a season. Um, Nothing uh, out of the ordinary, but if you're looking at the first week of the Major League Baseball season, there's one story that is absolutely grabbing all the ink above everything else, and that's the ABS system, which I'm in love with. And there's a deep story there, but I'm curious what your, as a fan, what your first impression is of the system, the rule, and how it's played out.
I was very apprehensive, especially with some of the newer rules that have come in that I've been less of a fan of. I've come around to the pitch clock. I have not really so much warmed up to the extra innings ghost runner as I've come to understand why they do it. Uh, but this I'm a big fan of. As a Boston kid, I watched a lot of the Red Sox and Reds play over the weekend, and obviously that was the big headline from the weekend with CB Bucknor. But just the way that it's broken down, and if you watch any clips from it happening in games, especially the one we're gonna talk about in a sec, but it's the loudest pop the crowd gets outside of a home run. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's it's a very fan involved thing right now, which is fun to watch. And we were talking before the show, the stat metrics behind it are fascinating right now. Who's doing it? Who's allowed to
yep.
do it? What guys are successful at it? It's all it's as baseball guys. If you're a stat nerd, it's I mean a whole new category to
New
fall into.
stat,
So yeah,
new stat for players, new stat for umpires, and the other thing is, uh, fans are getting to understand and see how important a single pitch is, how pivotal one pitch can change the game we're going to talk about. It was multiple pitches. Um, but there's there's a backstory here. Richie Garcia, former Major League umpire for decades, came out the other day, and there was a long article about how pissed he was about the rule and how embarrassing it's going to be, and all these things for Major League umpires. And I could not disagree more. It is the first time in my lifetime, well, in the history of the game, where umpires are going to be held to the same level of accountability as players. And it's going to happen in real time. Richie's like, oh, umpires are going to get embarrassed and this and that. Well, what do you think happens when a guy strikes out with the bases loaded in the big leagues in front of 50,000 people, or gives up a home run, or this or that, or does something that the umpire has direct influence over and the umpire's wrong? Now umpires are going to be held to account in real time in the big leagues. And what we're finding out, honestly, is that along with the, I think it was somewhere in the 50% neighborhood of overturned calls at first base last year, which meant that basically if you just flipped a coin, you'd get the same results at 50% over the course of the season, which is crazy. It also kind of emphasizes the speed with which the game is played is beyond the human eye to understand in not just in concept but in practice. But I love it. And the game we're referencing was a game this week with the Reds, and CB Bucknor was behind the plate. And I don't
Do you,
know. Go ahead.
do you want me to? I was gonna say I can go over some of the broader ABS numbers from the week, and then we'll
Yep.
dive into that game. As of this week, we have 227 ABS challenges. 24 have been overturned, 103 confirmed as called for a 55% overturn clip. So that's pretty interesting, right down the middle. Like you were saying about the called out at first base, it's not a major change, but it is significant. It comes down to the end of the year being 5 games out of a wild card spot.
Umpires are getting it wrong over half the time.
And then who we're seeing make the calls, batters made 103 challenges, fielders made 124. Fielders are overturning at an 8% better clip right now at 58%, where batters are exactly 50 at 52 to 51 over their 103 attempts.
What does that mean? Fielders? Pitchers?
Pitchers and catchers are allowed to make calls.
Oh, okay.
Pitchers and catchers challenging are 58% overturn.
Right.
Catchers appear to be the most efficient right now at making the call. They're also getting most of the permission to make the calls. Salvador Perez, the captain and catcher for the Kansas City Royals, was 3 for 3 on opening day. So guys like that, you'll probably see take the reins on a lot of it.
Right.
And then jumping into the Sunday night, what ended up being debacle after 11 innings, the Reds beat the Red Sox 6-5 after CB Bucknor had 6 calls overturned during the game. 2 back-to-back in a Eugenio Suarez at bat, where he was the one that challenged. Yeah, in a bases-loaded situation. I believe there were 3 separate challenges with a bases-loaded situation, 2 of them in his at bat.
You know what? Pause a second. Go. Sorry about that, dude.
You're good. I did the elevator music. That was perfect timing. Yeah. But yeah, so then Cora was thrown out in the 8th, arguing a Trevor Story check swing call. So there was just arguments left and right. Guys were very much allowed to have their voice heard during the game. And I think you were making the point a little bit earlier, and I'm curious to see if you agree with me. I don't think that this is a bad thing because you're saying umpires are going to be held to the same standard. I'm more worried about umpires not thinking it's worth the same risk because they're not getting the same incentive to get embarrassed.
Say that again. What do you mean?
I think the quality of umpire over the next 20 to 25 years will force electronic umpires, because regular guys getting paid umpire salary are going to say, fuck this. I am not getting embarrassed and called out and live roasted during the game.
Well, let's be real. The umpires' salaries are well into the 6 figures. They make very good money, and they have an incredibly good pension. It's a very lucrative job. It's a very hard job.
I see plenty of professional athletes taking mental health leaves. So
sure.
I'm saying this could be it's not worth it.
This actually brings the umpires up to a major league level of accountability. That's the thing I'm okay with. This is the premier,
I'm okay with both.
Most
I'm
elite,
just saying I'm
looking long term. It's going to weed out the weak ones.
Hopefully. That's hopefully what it does. But yeah. It's a, like all umpire referee jobs, it's a thankless job already. I mean, you're saying they're compensated well, but I mean, plenty of jobs compensate you. Yeah,
you never have a home game, right?
Nobody's cheering for you.
I'm going to be very interested to see how the guys that graded great on the former system, how they do on this system. Are they going to be the guys that are challenged the least? Or are we going to find out that the former system was full of crap and that the former system was built and put in place to make umpires look better than they actually are, which is what I think it was. But again, we had Tim Tashit on. I love Timmy, and I've always loved Timmy. And I guarantee you I think there are very few umpires, former or present, who are going to think this is a good thing in any way. And I
Well, it's
understand that
I
perspective.
sort of feel the same way when you say that I did telling you about ghost runners and pitch clocks, you know, it's old is hard to teach, you know, change things, and it's
Right,
been the same game for 100 years. Like, I
right.
was definitely apprehensive, like I've said at the beginning of the show when we started talking about this, like, there's certain things that's taken me time to warm up to, so
Yeah.
I can't imagine how hard it is for you, and then these guys like, C how long has CB been an umpire? 30 years?
Well, I mean, he was in the game when I was. I retired in '08. He was there before that, so he's been
Yeah.
in there probably close to 20 years. And the problem is he never should have been in the game to begin with. He's never and I it's not a personal thing. I don't know CB, but I've heard CB is one of the nicest men alive. Same thing I heard about Angel Hernandez. But CB has always been a very bad umpire. Not and across the board bad. Bad at the plate, bad on the bases. Um, and you know, in many respects, I think it's the DEI effect on baseball. You know, let's get a woman umpire to the big leagues. Well, how about you just worry about getting the best umpires to the big leagues? I don't care if it's a trans cross-dressing Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter. If they're the best umpires, let them umpire in the big leagues. But the umpires have never had a true accountability system. And the accountability system they had before was managed by the umpires. So, you know, they took care of each other, and I get that. But now the umpires are on the same accountability level as the players. You know, and that's the thing. If you get challenged 4 times in a game and all 4 challenges your call stays,
Yeah. I was
but
gonna
if
say
you
there is a, I'll find it here, keep going, sorry.
no, but again, it's a level of accountability the umpires have never ever been exposed to. There are a couple problems with it that I have. Um, if you look at and I do enjoy the fact that it shows on the scoreboard in real time and that listen, I get it. If you miss a pitch by 2 millimeters, wow, okay, I'm not gonna, like, chastise you as a fan or a player. Dude, it was but if some of these misses, I forgot her name, the female umpire, her first challenge was she called the ball, and the ABS showed the p ball to be literally right down the middle of the plate. You can't miss that in the big leagues at all. But if you watch the
Or
misses
if
on
you do, you have to walk out and immediately say, like, "Hand up, I was nowhere on that." Like, you there has accountability is what it's all
yeah,
about.
and if you looked at the CB calls, for the most part, they were egregious. They were like, "Okay, maybe if you miss one a game that badly, okay, I get it, you blinked at the wrong time." But if those 5 calls were within a matter of 20 different pitches, in one small section of the game. Like, that's crazy. And a couple of them were just blatantly bad. Um, you know, Angel
I can't
Hernandez
find it now, but
retired at the right time, by the way.
the there are some umpires who are, like, 5 for there is a list, I can't find it now, I'll find it and put it in the video when I post it, but there are some umpires who are perfect right now, still, and they've had 4, 5, 6 challenges, so
Yep,
there
yep.
is that quality out there, it's just
And
I
that's
fear
what's
that
gonna happen. They're gonna develop reputations, and as they build a dossier on all these umpires, you're going to know. It's something I would have known, going in, right? Don't challenge this guy. He's only been overturned 4% of the time in over 100 calls. This guy is been overturned 75% of the time he's been I mean, those are gonna be metrics that will be applied and, useful team strategies. Um, but again, it's part of me feels a little bad for them because they're like I said, they don't ever have home games, right? They are always on the road, and so fans of both sides in every stadium are always looking for the umpires as a fallback excuse to why their team didn't perform well and this and that and this and that. Um, but my biggest problem with the ABS system, if you look at the ABS videos, you see the home plate, and they kind of show it from an off angle, but the ABS system is measuring the ball in the middle of the plate, right? So a pitcher like Greg Maddux, who relied on movement, who would throw that comebacker into lefties, where it would not cross the plate until late in the movement. That's going to be a ball on a new system, a ball because in according to the rule book, the front of the plate is the front of the strike zone. It's a three-dimensional strike zone, right? It's got depth and it's got width.
Something else I also, I guess, just because I never played at any level where video was a factor, but like, I always assumed it didn't have to touch like, some of these ones that are being overturned, like, say the line of my box is the strike zone, like, the ball is here, but the stitching is touching the strike zone box. That's getting overturned as a strike. That seems a little egregious to me because
No,
even if
that's right. But that was where guys like Maddox and Glavine and for me in some sense, they relied on movement. They weren't going to throw a ball. They didn't have the velocity to throw a ball that caught a lot of the plate, right?
and
Maddox would nick
that's
the
the
front. Right.
beauty of and that's kind of where I push back a little bit is I'm worried about that human element being taken away from the game. The I forget, I'm blanking on his name. I think is it Anibal Sanchez who had the blown no-hitter? Like, that type of
No,
moment,
no, that was Galarraga.
Andres Galarraga, yeah, yeah, yeah. That type of moment doesn't happen if we have robot umpires.
Right.
Like, and
Which is a good thing.
you can say it's a good thing, but I don't remember that guy's you don't remember that guy's name if it's just a no-hitter. There's no chance.
Jim Joe. Oh no. Well, I would. I mean, obviously, but a fan wouldn't. But
I don't think you would.
I remember how devastated Jim Joyce was that he got the
The
call wrong.
but that is the human part of the game that I'm
Yeah,
afraid
no,
will
no,
vanish.
that's going away.
That's what I'm
That's going
saying,
away.
and that's where
Right.
it sucks that, and I said earlier, the biggest pop at that Red Sox Reds game was CB Bucknor fucking up and the fans getting to go, "You suck at your job." Like, that's,
The cheers,
growing up your kid, like the pitcher or
the
goalie's
loudest
kid.
cheers for the game were on his fifth blown call.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It becomes a sideshow almost.
Well, I'll give you another element that is now going to leave the game. It was blatantly prevalent when I played and before I played, where umpires would take care of certain players and ruin others.
I was just
I'm
about to
gonna
say that
I'm
relationship
gonna
that you
screw this
have
guy
with
because
Tim,
he's always complaining and yada 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 yada.
or
The
he
guys,
challenged me and got 4 overturned last game. I'm gonna fucking show him here.
right? No longer is that possible, or you can't do that anymore. And I think that's a great thing. Although that was something I was aware of when I went into a game. Hey, I know this umpire doesn't like hitter X or Y, so I've got an expanded strike zone against this guy. That's gone.
Yeah.
An umpire can't take care of a guy anymore. And
It
because,
also it sucks because it does take away, like, you have that relationship with Tim and certain umpires, like, that is no longer necessary because no guy's gonna be able to fork you
well,
one.
here's the thing about that is,
The good
you
guys
know,
will still do it, but
oh, absolutely, because it is relevant and you don't want to have to fight the umpire. And
you
but
played with
again,
guys, certain guys will be like, "Fuck that, I ain't doing that shit anymore," like,
right,
that's a
right,
waste of my
right,
time.
right. Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's going to remove a lot of the personal relationships on the field. And I don't know that that's a good or bad thing, but I think it's a good thing because for me, for the most part, those were always negative. Those were always negative. I mean, Joe West would no longer be able to do Joe West things. It was always rumored that Joe West hated the Red Sox
what would
and
we
that,
do
this
without
and
his
that.
music?
Right, but those things won't be I do believe it's going to force some umpires out of the game because they're not going to be able, again, they're up to this year there has been no true umpire accountability other than accountability overseen by umpires. Now they're being treated just like players because they get possibly they're going every mistake, and it's not just that, like, you strike out with the bases loaded, that's an event that happens in the game. You blow a call like this, they stop the game, show your mistake on the scoreboard, and then move on.
Well, and everyone, like, now, like, a week in, that's what has shocked me the most is how much people at the games are like, that's what I thought was gonna be hard to do, like, it's such a subtle tap, and then guys go right to the board. I didn't realize, but
Well,
credit to the baseball fans that have shown up week 1.
they knew, and I think that they figured out in the minor leagues, this had to be a bang bang process. It couldn't
Yeah.
be NFL instant replay.
Yeah, no going over to the
No,
sideline with
no,
the yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. Because that
And
defeats the purpose of the pitch clock.
everybody gets to see the outcome.
Yeah, it
So
defeats the
there's
purpose of the pitch
no,
clock as well.
well, but here's the thing, there's no, and I would argue that's the first thing the umpires are going to try to make happen. Eliminate the scoreboard replay of
Yeah.
the event, which then leads back to, are they truly implementing the system, or are they taking care of the umpires? Because then you have a system where the guys handling the replay could say, "Oh, we can't get this guy another overturned call." You know, it's got to stay public.
Well, yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, that can't well, now that they've started it that way, they cannot go back.
no,
There's no
no, no,
absolutely no
no. It
chance.
no, it is what it
Um,
is. So let me ask you, week one, anything jumping out at you from a team perspective? Anybody surprising you? I mean,
teams in
it's we're not
general,
we're there's not a lot going on. And we're only 4 or 5 games in, but does anything? I mean, I'm kind of chuckling because the Marlins are 4-1. Um,
they started with the Rockies, so
right,
wait that.
right, right.
That's what I
And
mean, like,
the
there's a lot that could be misconstrued, like, we were talking about before the show, and actually, great segue to ask you this question. Some teams are not using the challenge as much. Like, for example, the Reds came out of the weekend with the Red Sox 2-1 or 3-0. I forget. I think it was 2-1. And the Red Sox had great pitching. They played well. They hit the ball well. Roman Anthony hit well, and they lost 2 out of 3 games because the Reds are 3 of the top 7 challengers in their in their lineup.
Yeah,
With and they have one of the best overturn rates in the MLB right now versus teams like the Rangers, who I think combined have made 6 challenges and are a -5.
curious to know, because I think you're going to start seeing ABS in the standings as a number. Like ABS, they're -12, or ABS,
Or
they're
you mean
plus.
like in their stat line, like the guys when they come up to the plate, average
Right,
home runs,
right,
slugging, ABS
yeah,
percentage. Yeah, I
right.
believe that's what I mean. I think it
Um,
could get there.
but I could not. We talked about this quickly before the show. I haven't had a lot of time to think about it. I can't fathom a reason why you would why you would, if you are a team with few challenges. I can't imagine that being intentional, right?
That's what I'm saying.
But
Unless you are one of these
yeah.
teams that has said like only fucking these 2 guys and the pitcher and catcher are allowed to do it.
Well,
Like,
I would also imagine, we'll wait it out, but I'm gonna bet, and I'm gonna tell you that it's gonna probably end up being the younger teams will have fewer challenges
yeah.
initially.
Which looking at this, Boston,
Well, what about the
Houston,
Marlins?
Texas, Marlins are in the middle. They're in the average. Yeah, I mean,
You
this
got
is
we got
baseball
Well, here's
savant.
the
I'll
thing.
post the link, by the
We
way.
gotta get a couple weeks in, because,
Mhm.
you know how much I like run differential. The Rockies are 1-4 with a +2 run differential,
Yeah,
so
yeah. So it's very early. These are way too early takes, but ABS seems to have. I'm excited to see where it will end up towards the end of the year in
well,
terms of relevance for people.
I would tell you a couple things that I think aren't uh, fake. I think the White Sox are going to be potentially horrific again.
Oh, I thought you were about to
Um,
say okay.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
I
I
was
think
gonna
they're going to
say.
be. I don't think the 1-4 -21 run differential is a aberration. Um, I do think
I don't
that,
think I have any like true like surprises. I think I'll stick. I think it was surprising the Nationals kicked the Cubs ass. I think it was
yeah,
surprising the Reds handled the Red Sox so well.
yeah. Well, like,
Uh,
I would tell the true fans, the last day of April, that's your first true day of judgment. If your team has opened up a huge, if your team has dropped a huge amount of games out of first place by the end of April, you're probably what you think you are. Because April, I remember when the 85 Tigers started 35-5. There are certain levels of start hot and cold that can bury you for the year. I don't think anybody's like that, but I think the White Sox are potentially horrific again. And it was funny. I saw, a name that we've mentioned on this show quite a bit. Chase Dollander was relieved in a game, I think yesterday. Went 4 1/3 or 5 1/3, gave up four, got the win, and gave up like 4 or 5 runs and whatnot. And then the other outing that I saw today from a fantasy perspective, to a guy that we've talked about. If you go to the Pittsburgh Pirates box score today and look at Bubba Chandler's line, um, 4 1/3, no hits, 1 run, no earned runs, 6 punch outs, 6 walks.
Oh, yeah, that
You
hurts
know,
to hear.
well, and that's, mechanically, that's just going to be who he is. Um, he's and again, it's one outing. I'm not saying but Bubba Chandler, I'm telling you right now, could go out in 5 days with the same stuff, and that line could read 7 innings, 1 hit, 14 punch outs, no walks.
I mean, he's a high school arm.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he's
He has the
free balling.
polish. He has the polish of and again, this is not a personality thing, and it's not his fault. He's got the polish of an A-ball pitcher. And that's because he hasn't played enough and hasn't pitched enough and hasn't learned enough and hasn't been taught enough. And I'm not sure if I told you this. I think we talked about this in the offseason. But I have talked to a couple teams from a front office perspective, and I was told by more than one general manager this winter, and it's probably naive of me to go into the conversation thinking they don't see the same things I see. They know pitching is broken. But their response to me was kind of staggering in the sense that they said, I know pitching is broken. I'm getting paid to win games, so I'm not going to fix it. I'm going to utilize, if I have a kid that has horrible mechanics, I'm just going to let him pitch fewer innings in the minor leagues because I don't want him to get hurt down there. And I'm also going to limit his pitch count down there, but I'm not going to change him. If I have a kid that has good mechanics in the minor leagues, isn't a max effort guy, I'm going to let him extend himself in the minor leagues and throw more pitches and get the so this is a willful outcome. These teams are letting and allowing these guys, and I mean, listen, I've said it, and I hope I'm wrong because he's special. I don't think Paul Skeens makes it past 500 career innings without Tommy John. Now, again, hope I'm wrong. He's got an insanely different pregame approach physically. He takes very different care. He's a workaholic. I hope but the human body is not conditioned to throw with that level of effort for any lengthy period of time.
Well, he could get
Um,
there this year if he doesn't go 2/3 of an inning again. There's another
yeah,
surprise.
yeah,
Forgot to mention that one.
yeah.
But
And
again,
I would
misleading.
tell you, that's the thing. If you go back, and I'm using I don't want to use my comparisons, but if you go back and look at Maddox's career and you look at Randy Johnson's career and you look at Roger Clemens's career, I'm not talking about prime Hall of Fame time in their career, but you go back and look at Pedro Martinez's career and my career, I would tell you that combined, I'll bet you we had less than 10 combined total starts where we went less than an inning and walked guy. You know what I'm saying? That nightmarish outing. My worst outing of my career was the day after Gabby was born, when
I
I
mean,
didn't sleep all night.
this is also misleading if you watch the game. O'Neal Cruz dropped 2 easy fly balls in the outfield, so it
No,
was not
no,
his
no, no,
fault.
and
But
I get that. I get that.
yeah.
But good pitchers with command of the strike zone pitch around things like that. And again,
Well, he
I,
made 7 outs, so
right. No, I totally get that. And I'm not saying, but I'm saying and he may never have it. That may be the shortest outing of his career, and it probably will be. But if you look at these outings, even in past 15 to 20 starts into our careers, look at all those. There was never an outing where I went 3 1/3 and walked 7, or Maddox went. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I'm looking it up. Yours is 2 innings.
Yeah, and that was a freak.
The only ever yeah, Pedro had 1. The only time it ever happened that I was at a game, I was in Houston training for college and went to see Felix Hernandez play the Astros. The shortest start of his career, he lasted 2/3 of an inning.
Yeah, that's unheard.
And it was the
Go
first
ahead.
time I dragged mom to a game since you retired. It was 6 years. And she goes, "This is
Wow.
the guy we came to see. I'm not watching
Right.
baseball anymore."
But I remember the opposite. I remember those games where I gave up 5 runs, I think, to the Astros in the first inning in a game in Houston. And I remember I was with Arizona, and I remember I think I went 6 or 7 innings, and didn't give up another run. And I gave up a home run in the last inning of that game after not giving up any, but we came back in the game. We came back. This was like 2001 or 2 or 3. We came back late in the game and made the game and tied it or something. And I gave up a home run late. Instead of being that nightmarish, oh my God, I gave up 5 in the first, it was a character builder because I settled down and found a way to anchor and get it and not give up any runs because I could throw strikes. That's the difference.
It's amazing how much that figures out for you.
What's that?
Throwing strikes.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of it's crazy. Like being a little kid, I remember being like afraid to walk in a run. Like, when everyone can't throw strikes.
Yeah. Yep.
That is like the exact same feeling you get as a fan of a Major League Baseball team watching a bases loaded situation in extra innings.
And I want you to put this into perspective.
That's so insane.
The last on September 1st of 2002, I had 20 wins and 19 walks on the year. And now I was a strike thrower, but if you go back and look at walk rates, I mean, I think I remember the game that I had. I think my highest total walks after early in my career was a game in Florida when I was pitching for Philadelphia, and Joe West told me that he was screwing me on purpose. Like, yeah, I walked 5 guys. I walked Gary Sheffield on like strike 7, and it was I've told the story a billion times, but that's the thing. Like I said, I'm so, I'm very interested to see the gentleman that came over from the Browns that's running the Rockies now. He said he's going to reinvent the way Colorado plays baseball. And you and I have talked at length about this. I mean, I feel like there's only one way to do this, and it's a completely unique, different way. But yeah. So anyway,
sorry for those of you watching that have seen me looking off screen. I found the game, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It wasn't the first inning. I'm assuming this is the game. 2001, June 27th.
In Houston?
No. But it's the only game you pitched against Houston in Arizona where you gave up more than 2 runs. Or 4 Arizona, I should say.
This was in Houston. I might have been with Philadelphia. It was in Houston, though.
All right, then it wasn't this. But you did give up 5 runs. It wasn't in the first inning. But
Right.
But you pitched a complete game.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I was like, maybe it is that game. I don't know.
Yeah.
But back when the Astros were a National League team.
Right. Anyway, no, this was cool. I like I said, lots going on this year. We need to let people know too. You're actually going to be out of town for the next
week, but I'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll just post a day later.
Yeah. We'll start picking up the pace to bi-weekly, twice weekly when you get back, and we'll figure out a schedule.
I also wanted to quickly shout out before we sign off Justin Crawford for the Philadelphia Phillies, who is Carl Crawford's son, hitting .333. Like his dad doesn't watch many pitches.
Right.
Took his first swing for his first MLB hit, so that was a cool moment. And
yeah,
I loved Carl Crawford.
Yeah,
selfishly,
he was a different
and
animal,
he did kind of own you. So shout out him.
Yeah, until I started throwing the ball over his head, he was very successful against me.
I had to fact check that though, because I couldn't tell if that was me being a fan of Carl Crawford growing up, or if no, that was right though.
Yeah, no, he hit me
33, 16 for 48.
Yeah, we saw each other a lot in the AL East.
Yep.
All right, you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you guys after Easter.
Yep. Happy Easter,
you have
everybody.
A great Easter, G, and travel safe, and I love you, and I'll catch you on the flip side, bud.
Yep. Love you. See you next week.